We're live.
Again. We're shocked by it. We're like, we're back.
What? Oh, how did you get here?
Oh yeah, we're back, people. We're back.
We're back. Welcome to
It's
Salty
welcome to
Sisters.
Salty. It's November 1st.
Woo!
Come on. November. And you know what I hate about November?
Ooh, tell me. Here I am going.
Turning the
Woo!
clocks. Not turning the clocks. I'm okay with that. What I don't like is how dark it gets. Like it's pitch black at 5:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, what is that crap?
Right?
I don't
Yeah,
like it. I just
I-
don't.
I am with you 100%. I do not like the shorter days. I'm all about I grew up in the desert. I'm all about sunshine. But I guess we should
Yes.
introduce ourselves.
Oh, wait. Y'all don't know who we are?
If you don't, you should.
You
That's
should.
what Kat always says.
All right, Yvonne, why don't you go?
Oh, okay. Hello. My name is Yvonne. Boy, we are goofy today. We got the
Yes.
Fridays.
We do.
My name is Yvonne Marchese. I am the host of I was gonna say I'm the host of the Salty Sisters. I am the host of the Late
Yes, you
Bloomer.
are.
I am one of the hosts of the Salty Sisters. I am also a self-proclaimed age agitator, which is all fun, by the way. That is much more fun than it sounds. It can sound a little aggressive. But anyway, I am age agitating over here like a washing machine, shaking out all the dirty, yucky thoughts about aging that we've all grown up with. And I do that as the host of the Late Bloomer Living podcast. And I have a community called the Age Agitators Club, which is a whole lot of fun. And you should come play with us. Kat is a member, and we have a whole bunch of fun in there. Once a month, we gather on Zoom and we do groovy things in there. So that's me for now. How about you, Miss Kat Corchado?
Well, I do have to say about your club, we did what did we do where we had to draw things upside down?
Yeah.
Was that in there? Is that in the club that we did?
We did it in the club. I borrowed that little activity from a friend of mine, Susie DeVille. She's got an awesome book called Buoyant, and that was something that we did when I co-hosted a webinar with her, and I was like, "Ooh, I'm stealing this. This is awesome!" And it's in her book also. So yeah, that's cool. But tell me what you wanted to say about that.
Well, I just wanted to say that, okay, so Yvonne shows us a picture and she goes, I want you to draw this picture upside down. Now you're speaking to someone who never got past stick people. Okay.
That's me too.
People. That's as far as I got. However, I did pretty good. I was kind of proud of myself. So I don't know if it's the upside down thing, but for those people that you think you can't draw, yes, you can, because Yvonne proved that I could. So I'm just saying. But let me introduce myself. I am the freaking fabulous Kat Corchado. I am a proud military veteran. I'm also the host of the Sisters in Service podcast, which is for all people who are related to the military. But I'm also the founder of Small Space Pilates, where you can come and have fun. Your animals can make a special appearance because mine do. And there's a no perfection policy put in place for everybody. So you come and do you and be you in your space. So welcome to today. So we have, I don't know if it's going to be spicy. Is it spicy? Is it a spicy topic? Do you think?
Well, I didn't think it was until a little bit before we got on today. And I was like, wait a minute, we're talking about, so if anybody doesn't know what we're talking about, we are talking about up-leveling your life one step at a time. And I thought about that idea of up-leveling your life. And I was like, well, it's one of those terms that reeks of self-improvement. And I am a self-improvement girl. I'm always trying to get better, but sometimes that can just be a way to keep yourself feeling less than. There's a trickiness to being on a constant self-improvement.
You're like in a hamster wheel.
Yeah.
Like a hamster wheel.
Yeah. But, so I started thinking about it and I thought, the but the other thing that I truly believe is that as human beings, we're hardwired to constantly want more, to desire things, to want to get better. And I do think that that's just in us, and maybe it isn't something to fight, but maybe it's something to have fun with. It made me think about a book by Simon Sinek, called The Infinite Game, and he based it on the work of another book called that was by a guy named James P. Carse, and that one was, I think, published in the 1980s, and it was called Finite and Infinite Games. And Simon Sinek talks about this idea of the infinite game based on this other guy's work. And the idea is that, okay, so you sit down to play a game, right? And you've got winners and you've got losers at the end of the game. But the infinite game never ends. The infinite game is all about the exploration and playing the game for the fun of playing the game. And there are no winners and
Mhm.
losers because the game is never over.
Right.
So if we can approach our up leveling, our self
Mhm.
improvement with that sense of, I'm going to say, playfulness and experimentation and
Mhm.
curiosity about ourselves, and almost like getting back to ourselves, getting back to
Mhm.
that natural sense of ourself that we had as babies and kids, that we somehow learned how to squash down over
Yeah.
time with all the additional
Mhm.
responsibilities that pile on us as we become adults, and we have to strive and do better than the next guy and all the things, right?
Mhm.
So anyway, these are my thoughts. What do you think
Well,
about
I
that?
think that sometimes menopause, not menopause, midlife
Mhm.
brings you kind of, if you listen to your body and listen to your heart, it kind of pulls you back towards that playfulness, that because some things that we thought were so important back in the day, getting hired for a job, and then making sure that you reach the top rung of the ladder. And how many times have you talked to people that said, I reached the top and found out I wasn't happy? And so in making small steps, and I heard this story, I've heard it a couple times actually, that there was a young child, maybe 9, 10, 11, somewhere in there. And his father had given him $1 for having good grades. And he was somewhere, and I can't remember where, and he saw what he thought was a homeless person. And he said, I always wanted to help a homeless person. And so he handed him the only money he ever had that day and said, Sir, I want you to have this. I've always wanted to help a homeless person. So come to find out, the homeless person was not homeless. He was on the other side, way on the other side of homeless. But he had rolled out of the bed, let's say a hot mess, because he wanted to go get some coffee. So much so that this child thought he was homeless. And he was very, very, very well off. He was a millionaire.
Yeah.
And so he contacted the kid and said, Look, I own a string of stores. And I guess there were all kinds of things. And he said, I'm going to give you 20 minutes or however long it was. You pull whatever you want from the shelves and it's yours. And so he did. And I thought, we never think of think about $1, just $1, how it made an impact. Now, the guy didn't need the dollar. The kid thought he needed the dollar, but the impact that that had on both people,
Wow.
not only on him, but that young child. And I think sometimes we think it's got to be bigger, it's got to be better, it's got to be more. Not necessarily. Sometimes something so small that you think is very insignificant can make such a huge impact, not on your life or on the person's life that you think you're impacting. You know what I mean? And it
Yeah.
brings back that sense of humanity. And when we were talking about this today, it came back to me, thinking, God, that's so huge. But in our own lives, we think, I'm not making much. I'm not making a headway. You know,
Mhm.
think about paying off a debt. It's the same way. We're paying every month. We're paying more. We're paying more. We're trying to get that, and it feels like it's not going anywhere. When in actuality, you get to a point where you go, oh, all of that extra money I put towards this credit card or whatever it is you're paying off is now you're starting to reap the benefit of it because you start to see it just kind of drop completely.
Yeah.
So I think it's important that when we're talking about up leveling, because we think up level has to be this huge step from here up here. And sometimes it's just that small little thing that you learned, whether it's in your business or in your life, that made your life that much easier. But it feels huge to you, right?
Yeah, yeah. I'll
So,
talk about something. So, and I talk about this all the time, but it is one of those things where it was one change led to the next and the next and the next and the next
mhm,
in my own life, which was that I broke up with my snooze button in the mornings. And I started getting up earlier. I set my alarm an hour earlier than everybody else in the house was getting
mhm,
up at the time, and put it across the room, so I'd have to put my feet on the floor and get
mhm,
up and go turn that off, and then it was easier to keep going, and from
mhm,
there, the whole experiment that I had going at that
mhm,
time was, "Okay, let's try 30 days of doing this and
mhm,
get up and meditate and move your body, Yvonne, every day for 30
mhm,
days, and let's just see what kind of
mhm,
change this makes." And it changed everything. That one
mhm.
thing changed everything and led me to start the podcast, which then started its own avalanche of changes like crazy. I always say starting the podcast changed my life, and it's not
Mhm.
hyperbole. It's true. I wouldn't know you
That's
if,
true. And then there
so
would be
many
no
of my
salty
friends.
sisters, and that would
There'd
just
be
be
no self.
sad.
I know. Makes me sad just to think about it.
But I think our business coach, Kim White, always says that when you have accomplished something big and it's to commemorate it
Mm.
in such a way that every time you see that thing, that it reminds you of what you accomplished because we don't do that. And I know women don't do that. Men are a little better at this, but women are like, what's the next thing? What's the next thing? What's the next thing? And we never look back and go, damn it, I did that. I am proud of myself for doing that. And it doesn't take anything huge. It's like I just learned something on Canva. So I went from thinking Canva was stupid. Yes, I did because I didn't know how to work it, to now being very, I don't know what the word is. I can work Canva now. I'm just going to say.
She's
But
really
learning,
good at doing Canva now. That's what the truth is she used to be like, "I don't know how to do Canva,"
but
and then the
learning
next
all
thing we
these,
know, she's doing all this stuff, and we're like, "Cat?"
how did you do that? But it's those little things when we talk about up level, they're just these little tiny steps that get you to the next step, that get you to the next step, that
Okay,
get you
let
to a point.
I'm gonna interrupt you because I have an
Okay.
example for you in my head.
Okay.
Because you said when you started Canva, you thought it was stupid. You also did not like Pilates when you started Pilates, right? And
Right.
your whole career is now centered. Your career as a movement specialist is very
Yes.
much based in Pilates. So
Yes.
talk go back to that little bit of your journey for a second.
Okay. So, real quick, I was working in Boston. I was at a really nice club and I was working as a personal trainer. I was teaching classes and we had built, not we, not me, but they had built this beautiful mind body studio. It was yoga, they had private rooms where you could do privates with people and they had a Pilates room with all the things, right? So I was training a client and she said, you should really try Pilates. I was like, fine, I'll go do Pilates. So, have you ever walked into some place and whether it's a treatment or a class or something and walk out kind of going, "Ooh, I'm not really sure what happened." So that's how I walked in, walked out and was like, "Okay." So made another appointment with a different instructor. Same thing happened. Okay. So then I had my little hissy fit by saying, Pilates is stupid. I don't want to do it. So yes, I did. So I saw my client again and she goes, how did it go? And I said, Pilates is stupid. And she said, you didn't see Maureen, did you? And I said, no. She goes, go see Maureen. So now I had to pay for a session. I'm mad.
Oh,
Okay.
because you had 2 free
I
sessions
had
to
two
begin
free
with, didn't
sessions.
you?
Yes. And
You're
now
like,
I
"Well,
had to
why
pay
didn't
for a
you tell
set.
me about Maureen to begin with?"
Right. And Maureen was so good that it made me who I am today. And what I mean by that is as a teacher, she answered all my questions because, yes, I'm one of those. How come this? Why this? Blah, blah, blah. And she kicked my behind in Pilates. And it was because of her that I said, I want to do this. Now, let me go a little bit step further. I said, where can I learn how to be a teacher? She goes, you have to go to New York. This was before the whole boom of Pilates. Okay. Where now everything's Pilates, but that's another show. And I said, well, I can't do that. So I continued to take lessons because I loved it so much. And I went in one day and Maureen said, oh, guess what? The Pilates certification is coming to the club. And I said, sign me up. And that's how I started.
And the
But
rest is
if I had
history.
quit the first time, if I had not taken that small step, that small up level, and even though it was not what I wanted, and the second time wasn't what I wanted, the third time was magic. And I'm a three strikes you're out girl. I'll try something 3 times. If it
Whew,
doesn't
came in
work,
under the wire.
I
We wouldn't have small space Pilates. We're talking alternate timelines here that would
exactly. And see how things just they kind of just did this
yeah,
because I made that step to go try Pilates. And sometimes we're afraid, and you talk about this all the time, Yvonne, about we're trying to be perfect at something right out of the gate. And
yeah,
sometimes you have to be in a learning mode. And I'm
yeah,
always, what does this feel like? What is this about? And being that lifelong learner, because that's what I am. I read
yeah,
books. I'm always learning from other people, whether it's other Pilates instructors, other people in general about business. I'm seeing, does this fit me? Can I do this myself? Can I learn how to do this? So I think that's a very, very relevant question, Yvonne. So thank you.
yes. And you didn't go into Pilates to become a Pilates instructor. You went into
Mhm.
Pilates to check it out. And that was
Mhm.
like this curiosity factor working, right? Or
Mhm.
somebody said, "Hey, you should go do this. Let's check that out." And so I guess where I'm going with this is up leveling your life doesn't have to mean that you have an end goal in mind for the things you're doing. Uh, I think the real juice of it is
Mhm.
in pursuing the little or pulling on little threads of interest of the
Mhm.
things that feel like, oh, that looks like fun. If you notice that you're scrolling through Instagram and you see somebody doing something and you kind of get that little feeling of like, oh,
What's that?
oh,
That looks
yeah,
cool.
yeah, oh, I want to do that. It could
Mhm.
also be like, there could be like a little envy thing or a little jealousy thing. If you notice
Mhm.
that, if you look at that not as a bad thing and judge yourself for being jealous or envious or whatever. I know there's 2 distinctions between envy and
Mhm.
jealousy, and I always get it wrong. But there is a type of that feeling can be a little hint to you to say that that's
Mhm.
actually something you want for yourself, and you're seeing somebody else do it and it's making you feel like a little bit less than.
Mhm.
So that could be like an aha moment for you of going, "Oh, why do I feel this way? Maybe there's something for me in that." And then get
Mhm.
curious about it and then pull on that thread. Like, what is it in that thing that you're seeing that
Mhm.
has you feeling like maybe you want more. Maybe you want something for yourself. And
Exactly.
and then have fun with it. Don't It doesn't have to be like, "Oh, I need to do this thing and get really good at it so I can make money at it, so I can beat other
Mhm.
people at it, so I can get acclaim for it," right?
Right.
It
Well,
can
2
be.
things come to mind. One was the roller skating.
Yeah.
Yvonne and I had a conversation. We both remembered how much, I think both of us spent like 2 years on roller skates as kids. And we started talking about, and finally we bought the skates, and then we're doing the thing, and we finally got together in New York City and got to go skating together. The other
Oh,
thing I want to bring up is, remember coloring books? Do you remember how to
oh, yeah.
color? I love the smell of crayons. I still do. Just shh, don't tell anybody. I finally bought a coloring book and coloring pencils because it's very therapeutic. And can I tell you, it's been in my Amazon cart for almost a year. And I
I
finally pulled the
You
trigger.
finally did it. Here's a question for you.
Mhm.
Did you buy it to celebrate anything? Was it one of those?
No, I just said
No,
it's
you just
time.
feel like it's
I'm
time.
like, I'm pulling the trigger on this. I'm tired of seeing it in my bucket or in my shopping cart. 'Cause, Amazon's like, "Hey, psst, cat, you got this in your cart. You need to go get it."
Yeah, yeah.
And
My
finally, I just said,
skates
"Fine, I'm doing it."
were a purchase that I made that I was thinking about skating for at least a couple of years
Mhm.
before I decided, "By God, I'm getting on my skates again." And they were a purchase that I did to celebrate something, and the funny thing is right now I can't think of what I was celebrating. They're supposed to commemorate
I thought
something.
it was your podcast. Was it 2 years in your podcast or something, or 3 years
It
or
must have been the
something like that?
3-year it but timing-wise, I was thinking it was the book, but it must have been the 3-year celebration for the
Yeah, it was before the
podcast.
book.
It
Yeah,
definitely was
yeah.
before the book, and I I just found the video that I took of myself opening the box,
I know, I saw that video.
and, oh my gosh, and I'm literally, like, giddy and
Giddy. I
giggling
know, I
opening that box, especially because, like, when you
know.
spin the wheels and especially when they're
Mhm.
brand new and shiny and all the
Yes,
good things, and you
yes.
spin the wheels and they light up, and I was
I
like,
know, yeah, yes. It's like being a kid again,
"It
and I think
is."
that's, when you find an up level, and let's talk about business for a second. When
Okay.
you find an up level and it's small, but it makes this huge impact, not only in your business, maybe it's making something easier, that up level. You
Mhm.
know what I mean?
Yeah.
And those small up levels are huge. Maybe you found something that you've been searching for your skin. Been trying to find these moisturizer, and finally you land upon one, you go, "Oh, this is it." It's an up level. It doesn't feel that way, but remember how you felt when you finally found the thing?
Yeah.
That's what it's like. It's
For me,
finally.
it was the shoes that I wear, like my tennis shoes. Like, I
Mhm.
found the pair of tennis shoes that I am like, they are, and I don't ever like, I ended up buying the pair and they were so good, I went and bought the 2nd pair.
I do
So
that
so I'd have them
too.
just in case, because every time I get a pair of shoes I like and I go back to get them
And
later,
they're
they
not
don't make them
there, or they don't have
anymore.
your size.
Right, or they
Yeah,
changed them
yeah.
somehow, so I was like, "I'm buying the next pair now." So,
I
anyway,
know.
I love that. Well, we're doing some up-leveling around here, right?
We are,
We
yes.
have decided we're gonna be changing up a few things with Salty Sisters, and we're hoping that we can figure out, like, little baby step up levels every time we do this from now on. And one of the changes that we're making is we're going to go to once a month. We're going to do the first Friday of every month is when you're going to find us doing our thing. And one of the reasons that we're going to that once a month thing is so that we can put some thought into the show in between shows and not be in a rush, because we're busy ladies, aren't we? And frankly, sometimes we come in sliding in sideways. And Kat is awesome at that, by the way. Nobody is better at Kat than sliding in sideways and coming in and looking like she had the whole thing
And doing
planned.
a little flip as I do it, landing on my feet. Can you picture that?
Exactly. But we want to make sure that we're doing a show that is impactful for you
Mhm.
if you're watching, that has value, that is fun. It's really
Mhm.
important to me that this show be fun for people to watch.
Or even
And
fun for us,
yeah,
because if it's not fun, then what's the point,
what's the
you
point?
know?
Yeah.
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 But doing it and talking about things that maybe you've talked about before, maybe you've never talked about it, but you want to,
Mhm.
and putting a spin on it that it's not heavy. And sometimes, y'all, life gets heavy. And at the least, not I don't think there's an opportune time at all for there to be heavy. But at a time when you think, oh, and you're low and going along and everything's perfect, and then life just goes like this, and you're like, dang it, just when you thought you had it together. And you do have it together. It's just you have to maneuver. It's kind of like, I think of those driving courses we have to maneuver around the cones and stuff.
Oh, girl, I
I think
suck at those. Are we talking about the games, the driving games? I'm so
those
bad. Forget
driving
Mario
off the
Brothers.
cliff. Oops, I
Oh my
died.
gosh, any of those Mario games, I'm like, "Where am I? Where's the track? What am I? Which car am I? I don't even know what I'm doing." Anyway,
And that's exactly
life
why I
kind
don't
of
play
feels like
games
that.
today. I do play games that it's one person, and it's usually a puzzle game, and it's just me. I remember playing a game with my husband, and I'm like, he's doing like he's just doing. I'm
Well,
like, and
gamer,
he'll say
right?
press button A and C and then hit enter. I'm like, I'm not doing that. No, I'm not doing it. And I didn't. I'm like, I'm done. I play no games like that at all, because it's too much work.
It's just stressful.
That's why I play solitaire.
I play word games. I'm a
Yeah,
word
word
game
games. Yeah.
Sudoku.
Because I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm
Yeah.
okay with this. But I think when we talk about up leveling, I think we're always, up leveling for our family, up leveling for, making our home better, making it smell better, making it look better. But we never think about up leveling for ourselves.
How
And
about
I
just
think
up-leveling to make
sometimes,
it feel better?
true.
How about
Mhm,
that? How about if we
mhm,
up level to feel better? Because in the end, if you think about it,
mhm,
anything you ever want in life, you want it because of the way it's going to make you feel.
mhm,
If you want more money, you want it because maybe the freedom
mhm.
that comes with that good feeling of freedom. That's what we want. We want to feel better.
Yeah, and that's huge. I mean, it's really huge. I mean, think about food. We think about food. I used to be one of those people that was like this, because I had to, being in the military. If you didn't eat fast, you just didn't eat. But my husband, who cooks, by the way, um, and he's really good at it. And I've learned how to slow down and savor what
Mm.
he's cooked for me, and really, just take my time with food,
That
and
is
not
such a
just.
good point, Kat.
Mhm,
How about savoring your life, right? Savoring
mhm,
this moment. Like right
mhm.
now, I'm feeling a very savory moment happening right now, just being here with you. Like if I
Yeah.
really let that impact and
Mhm.
land on me, I love doing this with you. So there's like
Yes.
savoring it like
Mhm,
right then and there.
mhm.
That's an up level.
Have you ever heard of people who say, "If this happens, I'll be happy. When this happens, I'll be happy. When this happens, I'll be happy." And I've learned as I've gotten older, have you ever been in a moment and you're comfortable, you're warm, the dog's laying beside you, you have a good movie on, my husband's in his recliner, I'm in my recliner, and I will think to myself, everything is perfect in this moment, because it can
Mhm,
change. It
mhm.
can change. But taking that and realizing in that moment that everything is perfect right at that point. I think if we did that more, we would be able to realize it a little bit more, and understanding that those moments lead to other moments, and not that they do lead to other moments, but we're not cognizant of it.
Yeah.
you know Sitting in my vehicle and feeling this gratitude, it's this
Yeah.
feeling of like, I don't know why it comes about, but I acknowledge it.
And the
I'm like,
more you
wow.
do, you can get momentum going. You
Mhm.
know, a lot of people talk about manifesting, and all that is riding a wave of bringing things to you, and you can
Mhm.
manifest the bad stuff just as easily as you can manifest
Mhm.
the stuff that feels good. So
Mhm.
why not hop on that wave of
Mhm.
savoring those moments and see if it leads to another good feeling and another good thing and
Mhm.
another good thing? Like, follow, like, again, pull on that thread of, like,
Mhm.
follow it, like, be intentional about how you feel every day. Doing more of what makes you
Mhm.
feel good is going to bring you more and more and more good
Mhm.
things, because
And
that
even from a
energy just goes out to, and people want to
yes.
be part of it, you
Yes,
know?
absolutely. But even in business, I had a soiree last week, on Saturday, and sometimes in business, we want lottie-dottie and everybody because we think the bigger, the better. I had how many people? 8, 9, something like that
Yeah, something like
at
that.
my soiree, and you know what? It was perfect because it was, first of all, I invited those people who I wanted to be there. And I can tell you, and I told you this, Yvonne, that afterwards my heart was just full. And I acknowledged it. I was like, this made me feel so good. And it wasn't about me, it was about the people. It was about celebrating my 4 years of the podcast, celebrating 2 years of small space Pilates, but celebrating it with the people I care about. That's what's important to me. And leaving that and understanding that it felt just really, it was so perfect. I can't even tell you. It was great.
It was fun. It
It
was
was
fun. I
fun.
was honored to be
Mhm.
there, and I loved being there, seeing the other people who were there, some of whom I
Mhm.
know, and some of whom I don't really know, or I've been maybe at another thing where, that was cat
Mhm.
adjacent, where I was like, "Oh, okay, I remember them. I remember
Mhm.
her." And but just being in this room of this intimate Zoom room
Mhm.
and seeing how you have impacted those people, a lot of them through
Mhm.
your Pilates, and
Mhm.
the way that you have helped them get breakthroughs to feel better in their bodies,
Mhm.
which is so huge. That uh, is it
I
is.
understand what you're saying,
It
Yvonne.
is it is huge to help to have that kind of impact on people, Kat.
Mhm. But it again, I'm gonna go back to Maureen. I wanted to be a teacher like Maureen. And meeting people, she met me where I was. Now, I thought I had this Pilates thing in the bag because I was a personal trainer. Pff, I got this. I so didn't have it, y'all. I so
Mhm.
didn't have it. But in learning about my body and learning about what, other people's bodies, what they can do and what they can't do. And it's not that they can't, they just can't right now. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
Mhm.
And understanding that, when people come in the door, sometimes they have a lot of energy and sometimes you just don't, but you showed up anyway. And I'm like, I'm so grateful for you for showing up. Let's make you feel better walking out than when you walked in, because that's how Maureen treated me. And that's how I want to treat everybody. And so understanding for me, it's not about my expertise. It's about, how can I approach this person with Pilates and make them feel better in here? Because if you feel good here, you're going to feel good here. And if you feel good here, you're going to feel good here. You have no choice. You
Yeah.
cannot have a
It's a
happy body
circulatory
and be
system,
you
right?
can't be happy in your body and not happy in your brain. I'm just going to put it out there.
Yeah.
But I think that when you, even for me, up leveling is what little small thing can I learn or can I do to be just a little bit better at what I do? Maybe it's nothing right now, but maybe I'll be scrolling through social media and I'll go, oh, that's gold.
So it just something just popped up for me in what you were saying.
Mhm,
I'm thinking about that we can up level in a moment of crisis,
mhm,
and we can up level in a moment of joy. And I think the thing that ties the two together is, and I think sometimes we up level more from the crisis. It doesn't
you learn
feel
a
as,
lot about yourself and
yeah,
others.
it doesn't feel as good, I will say,
Mm-mm,
but and it may not feel like up leveling in the moment. It's in the
mhm,
looking back on it. But I think if you can go through a hard moment and stay curious about that hard moment,
mhm,
that you can shorten the time period of the crisis, because the curiosity can take you to the other side
mhm,
of feeling horrible to feeling like, oh, isn't that interesting? And when you get interested in something and curious about something,
mhm.
oh, I wish I had the quote up in front of me. It's really cool. It's a quote by T.H. White that I wonder if I can put my, oh, wait. I hope I can get my, hold on, hold on. I think I found it. I think I found it.
Okay.
Yes. This is awesome. This is a quote from the Once and Future King, and it's a little long, so bear with me. "The best thing for being sad," replied Merlin, beginning to puff and blow, "is to learn something. That's the only thing that never fails. You may grow old and trembling in your anatomies. You may lie awake at night listening to the disorder of your veins. Love that phrase. You may miss your only love. You may see the world about you devastated by evil lunatics, or know your honor trampled in the sewers of baser minds. There is only one thing for it then: to learn.
Mhm,
Learn why the world wags and what wags it. And that is the only thing which the mind can never exhaust, never alienate, never be
mhm.
tortured by, never fear or distrust, and never dream of regretting. Learning is the only thing for you. And look what a lot of things there are to learn."
That's a huge there's a lot in there. There's a lot in that quote. You know what I mean? That you could
Yeah.
just piecemeal. But I will tell you this, one up level, and I didn't realize it was an up level until recently. Whenever we get bad news, okay, let me tell you the whole story. I went for some blood work. I came back, thinking I was good, and I got this bill for $2,200.
Ouch. Mhm.
Yes.
Mhm.
So I've exhausted all other whatever. And when I've got the bill the first time, I said to myself, I'm going to be okay no matter what. I'll pay the bill, but I'm going to be okay. And so I have learned that in instances of angst, of feeling less than, of something happening in my life, I say, okay, no matter what, I'm going to be okay. And everything, it goes from on its side like this to shoo. Now I see the full picture. Do I still have to pay it? Yes, but I'm going to be okay. And
Yes.
I think that's what we have to remember. You know, as a business person, how many times have you done social media and realized, oh, it's clever, it's funny, it's this, and the picture didn't show, or you have a typo? Did you freak out, or did you be like, Okay. I'll be okay.
I recorded something yesterday and I was like, and I'm going back and I'm getting ready to post it because I was like, no, I like what I said, and I was skating and I
Mhm.
had something to say, and it was very much in the moment. There's no recreating it, you know. And as I'm looking at it, getting ready to post it, I realized I had like a piece of lettuce in my teeth.
And what do we call that, Yvonne? We call that being peoply.
Messy is beautiful is what I
That
call
too.
that. And so,
Yeah.
you know what I did? I went ahead and posted it. I did the little captions. I did like a title on it. And then when I at the point where I noticed where the lettuce is, I did a little thing like lettuce in
Arrow,
my teeth and a little arrow. Look at that. What else am I gonna
right?
do? I was like, I
Yeah.
can't re-record this. It was
Mm-mm.
very much it came from a place of joy and a moment. And I was like,
Mhm.
I'm just putting it out there, and I'm putting it
La
out there
There's nothing
imperfect.
better than laughing at yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, can I tell you a story real quick?
Yeah.
So, I was in the gym and I had a client, and remember those incline boards that could go down, they could go level, they could go up. They
Uh-huh.
had the thing you could lift your legs, you could do all kinds of things, right?
Uh-huh.
So, I'd taken my client down there, I had set it up, didn't set it up correctly. So I so I'd set it up to where it was level. I got on it, the thing went shoo, and I slid off onto the floor. And you know what I did? I stood up and I went like this. And everyone clapped.
And you're like, thank God it was me and not my client, right?
And I was like, yes, tens all around. What
I
else were
love
you
that.
gonna do? I could have gotten mad, but I just laughed at myself because it happens,
That's
you
making me think of
know?
the back of your book, Cat, with your there there's a fun little picture. Cat has a book coming out, you guys. She's not gonna talk about it here, but I'll
I'm
mention it. So on the back of her book cover, there's a picture of
Mhm.
her, and she looks like 10,
Ta-da!
10.
Tens all around.
So now every time I look at the back of your book, I'm gonna think about that story.
But I think that, when you and that's a form of up leveling, in case you didn't know.
Yeah.
It's taking something like that or with the lettuce in your teeth and going, okay, you know, it's right there. And so because you pointed it out, other people are going, oh, that's not all that bad. But if you hadn't have pointed it out, people are like, did you know you have spinach in your teeth or lettuce in your teeth? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. Oh,
It's
yeah.
almost like when you say, "Yep, I know it's there, and I pointed it out," and people go, "Oh, okay." She's a person. She's a real person. So, I love it. I love it.
Oh my goodness, this has been so fun. So, we are going to be working to up level Salty Sisters in the most fun of possible ways that we can
Mhm,
manage it. And so we're looking to make little improvements every time we do this. We're going to once a month, first Friday of the month, if you want to come be with us live. Otherwise, you can always check these videos out and replays on either Kat's YouTube channel or on my YouTube channel. Your YouTube channel is Cat Corchado, right, Cat?
mhm.
And my
Yes.
YouTube channel is Late Bloomer Living. We haven't put something together yet with just Salty Sisters, so we just kind of like spread around the
Mhm,
joy at this point. So those are a couple of places you can go to find replays of us. And if there are things that you want us to talk about, if there
mm.
are things that you want to see us do, even if they're goofy,
We're okay being goofy in case you
we're
haven't noticed.
clearly. Um, so, let us know if
Mhm,
there are things that you think that we could do that would make this more fun and valuable for you, because
mhm,
we're here right in the midst of it. We're in process
mhm.
doing this thing and just trying to get better at it and have fun with
Absolutely.
it every
Yeah.
time. So
Up leveling
we'll be back the first Friday
in
of
December.
December, which is
Mhm.
going to be December 6th. And We'll
at
see
12
you
o'clock
guys,
Eastern time.
12 o'clock
We'll
Eastern.
have time to put stuff out on social media so you know what we're going to be talking about. And you can put it on your calendar. That's another up level.
Oh, yeah.
All right, guys. So until next time, thank you for watching. If you're seeing the replay, if you have any questions, let us know. And we'll see you on 6th December at 12 o'clock Eastern time. We need some bye-bye music, don't we? We need
Oh, I
bye-bye
like,
music.
yeah, you got bye-bye music?
I don't, but that's going to be our next up level.
Play some bye-bye. We'll just go bye-bye. What's this?
Bye, bye, bye.
Bye-bye.
What is
Bye-bye. No idea what I'm singing. I had no idea.
Okay, before I go, I have to tell you this. One of my clients, her husband dressed up as one of the Backstreet Boys, right?
It is Backstreet Boys, right?
Is
that what I was doing?
And so of course a lot of people don't know who the Backstreet Boys are, right? And they're like, which one? And he goes, the fat one.
I sat around and gave out candy last night, and one of the women, we have some friends that came over and were handing out candy with us. We were talking about our our kids when they were younger and some of the best costumes that they had. And one year, her kid decided he wanted to go as Fat Thor from one of the Avengers movies because he gets fat in that what is it, Endgame or something. So she's like, well, that doesn't exist in the world. There's not selling Fat Thor costumes. So she had to go and make a Fat Thor costume. And then
my gosh,
the poor kid, he went out and most of the people didn't know who he
was
until he was like, Mom, nobody knows who I am, until he walked, like almost right after that, walked to a door, knocked, and the guy was like, Fat Thor.
All right. So on that note, we're leaving again. Okay,
really?
For real this time.
Really?
For real. Bye, guys. So bye.
Bye.